entertained? Are you not entertained?
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Whiskey Jedi podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me early this evening. Hope everyone is doing great out there. I know the time change is different. Thank you guys for being here. If you are here tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific, went a little early tonight for a couple of different reasons. Very, very long day on my end. I spent the day painting the inside of our house, so your boy's tired. And also, I haven't seen my family all day because I have been painting the house, and I asked them to leave the house. And they literally just rolled in the driveway. So I would love to get this show in tonight. That way I can go spend some time with my family, have some dinner, and then, of course, go watch Daredevil Born Again. Brand new episode of Daredevil Born Again tonight. Really, really looking forward to it, but had to get a show in before I did so. Also because I didn't do a show last week. Last week was a little bit of a rough week and just was not feeling – you can kind of still feel the nasal thing going on. I'm a little stuffy still. I was not feeling good at all on Tuesday. I know I did the Daredevil review on Wednesday, but you could tell on that show that I was extremely stuffed up and feeling very, very sick. And I'm now just coming over it, thankfully. So hopefully I'm back to full strength soon. A lot of cool things happening here on our end. Painting the house, possible career change, a lot of things to celebrate, and I can't wait to do so. Just hanging out, talking movies and television, drinking a little whiskey, having a little dinner after, and enjoying Daredevil. But yeah, look, I'm thankful for everyone who's joining me right now. I know it's a shift, so probably many of our regulars won't be here until a little bit later on because they won't see it. But Booze, Stardew, appreciate you guys being here. Just want to hang out, talk some movies and television, take questions. Might be hard because there's not many of you. That's why I do have some topics here on the side, but just kind of catch up on things that we've been watching, some of the news that's been popping off, anything that we want to talk about. So if you two will have any questions, any comments, any specific topics that you would like to talk about, please let me know. And we'll get into it. I'm being lazy this week when it comes to the whiskey because I have been so busy. Haven't had a chance to get out and get a new bottle. And quite honestly, I didn't feel like changing the image of the overlay this week. So we're drinking Frank August again. Thank God I like it because I've had it a couple weeks in a row. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to keep drinking the same whiskey over and over again. I honestly really haven't made a dent for as much as I've been drinking it. There's not that big of a dent this week. So, or since I got it, I should say. But yeah, so if you guys have questions, Blake, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. Appreciate you being here as always, buddy. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm going to drink a sip of whiskey and then we'll get into some Last of Us because we are officially 1 month away from season 2 of that show returning, and I cannot wait to dive back into that world. Just hits different after a very long day, you know? It just feels different. Oh. All right. Let's get into it. Booze, thank you for bringing that up. Before we get into The Last of Us, one thing that is not on the overlay, not on the rundown, is the Invincible finale. I do want to get into the Invincible finale. Season 3 has ended. It ended epically. And again, I got lazy with the overlay this week. I had 4 topics for last week's show ready to go, and I just didn't feel like changing it. Invincible is on the thumbnail, though. I do want to get into Invincible. So we'll do that here in a little bit. But yeah, The Last of Us Season 2. Look. Oh, poor Bobo. Don't know how long this show will be going if he's not feeling too hot. You could probably hear him crying in the background. Look, The Last of Us Season 2 is coming very, very quick. And we are a month away from the return of, honestly, a great show. A really, really great show. And I never played the video games. I have not played the video games. I have not even watched like the story play out on YouTube. And I am not doing so because I want to see this story play out in TV form. Now, I know it's going to be very different. There are going to be changes and adjustments that happen to the show compared to the video game, and that happens with all adaptations. Let's be honest. It happens with all adaptations. But you can't say that any change that was made in season 1 wasn't great, because season 1 was damn near perfect. There were so many great things about that show in season 1 that it's very hard to complain about what changes they possibly could be making in season 2 and beyond. We've been told that the show will last at least 3 seasons. I have a feeling it's going to go 4. Because why wouldn't you? I've heard that that part 2 of the video game is very, very big and very detailed and just has a lot of oomph to it. And there's no way that it can happen at least one season of television. So I love that we're going to be getting at least 3. And just everything building off of everything that we saw. I mean, it was very much an introduction into everything, and we were still getting to know Ellie and Joel and their stories, how they intertwine with each other, putting them in places, with Tommy and so many different things. We had that ending, which is going to play a massive part going forward. And yeah, I'm excited to meet all of these new characters that I keep hearing about. What I think is it Caitlin Devers playing one, Isabella Merced is playing the other. The show is just, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to another great HBO show. We've been on a really good run of great HBO shows. We had House of Dragon last year, and then we had The Penguin. We currently have The White Lotus, which I don't know if any of you are currently watching The White Lotus, but even though it is slower and a little different from the previous seasons, White Lotus is still very good. And then we have The Last of Us. I mean, they're on a really big kick and high right now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're able to do with The Last of Us season 2. It's one of the best critically acclaimed shows of the last number of years, and having it return, I mean, it feels like forever ago that we saw season 1, even though it was only 2 years ago, which makes me excited to dive back into that world. I'm definitely going to be doing videos on that, reviews. I don't know if I'll be doing a live show like we're doing for Daredevil. It's all based on timing, but you can definitely hear my thoughts on a weekly basis on, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, stuff like that. All right. Not much to think about there. Oh, Blake, here's a Last of Us comment. I want to bring that up since we are talking about it. Blake, quick. Isabella's character was briefly seen in season 1, but played a different actress. Oh, I didn't know that. Did we see her face? Because I didn't know that. Very interesting. By the way, I love Isabella Merced. I think she's great. I think she's really, really good. She's been in a lot of good things, and she's always performed, even when she was in Transformers with Mark Wahlberg as like a 12-year-old. I think she's fantastic, and I love the work that she's been doing. I'm really excited to see her as Hawk Girl. She's going to be Hawk Girl for James Gunn's DCU. We're going to see her in Superman later this year. And yeah, I think she has an extremely bright future. And to see her alongside people like Ellie Ellie and Joel and all these other characters that are in the show is going to be super exciting. So yeah. All right, before we move on, a couple questions that I'll get to since it is type of a Q&A episode. So please, again, if you guys have questions, let me know. Blake, have you watched Dope? The first 2 episodes were great. It is on the list. It is on the list. There is so much incredible television right now. It is hard to keep track. Just on a daily basis, like there's just so much television. So about 2 weeks ago, this was my weekly run of TV that was happening. And since then, a couple of shows have ended. But this was the current run that I was on. Sunday was 1923, The White Lotus, and Tracker. Monday was Paradise. Tuesday was Daredevil Born Again. Wednesday was what was Wednesday? Survivor and the Amazing Race. Those are two shows that Gab and I love watching. Thursday was Reacher, Invincible, Severance, and I didn't know it at the time, but Yellow Jackets was also dropped on Thursdays. I usually save Yellow Jackets for Fridays, so I'll say Yellow Jackets on Fridays. And then anything I could catch up on was on Saturdays, and in between all of that, like there was so much television. Now since then, Invincible. Traders was also on Thursdays. We watched the Traders as well. So since then, Invincible, the Traders, and Paradise have all concluded for their seasons, and I'm still going strong with the rest of them. But we're thriving with TV right now, and it's only continuing because the Wheel of Time debuted this last week. I still need to get to Dope Thief, which just debuted on Apple TV Plus. Reacher's still going incredibly strong. Severance is finishing up this week. 1923, The White Lotus, Daredevil Born Again, Andor's around the corner, Last of Us is around the corner. Us TV nerds are thriving. We are absolutely living for all of the TV right now. But yes, long story short, I'll be getting to Dope Thief. God, such a tongue twister if you talk fast. I'll be getting to Dope Thief later this week. And I hope to get a review up and watch that on a weekly basis because I love Brian Tyree Henry. I love the concept, but it's Apple TV Plus. I'm pretty much going to watch anything that's on Apple TV Plus. So, let's see. Booze. That was as violent as the last time Glenn and Negan met up on another show. Yes. All right. Before we move on, let's talk about Invincible. Season 3 has concluded, and we got 2 of arguably the greatest comic book TV show episodes of all time back to back. Invincible episode 7 was the Invincible War. We saw 18 different Invincibles, violent and very evil Invincibles from different worlds, be brought into the Prime Invincibles world and kill thousands, if not millions, of people. And then the follow-up episode, which was teased at the very end, we saw the arrival of Conquest, voiced by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And if you watch Invincible, Invincible is obviously voiced by Steven Yeun. And that is a very big Walking Dead reference because Robert Kirkman, who created Invincible, created The Walking Dead. And it was absolutely incredible. Like one of the greatest honestly, I'm not afraid to say one of the greatest season finales of all time. Like 30, 35 straight minutes of carnage. Absolute carnage between these two characters. Blows between blows between blows. Thrown back and forth between these characters. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan put in an all-time performance. I don't care if it was just voice acting. The depths that he took his voice in the situations with this character was phenomenal. I never read the comics, so I don't know the history, but I saw so many whack jobs online complaining about the voice of Conquest. How the hell can you compare an animated TV show's voice to a comic book? There's no voice. So to complain about that before seeing it was absurd. And I hope everyone probably ate their shoe at that point, because how can you not come back to me after watching this episode and tell me it was incredible? Because it was incredible. Adam Eve showing up and just unbelievable moment with her. If anything this season, if I walked away with anything, it proved that I thoroughly love the Adam Eve character. I think she is so strong and so incredible to counter Mark as a character, and they work so well together. I have a giant relief the fact that she can't die, which is just like unbelievable, because I don't want to see that character ever actually die. But man, did she get walloped this episode. Conquest put a fist right through her, literally. Broke her face and had her organs flying out, and just a brutal scene. And it took Mark overboard. Like just a great setup for what's coming. We had all of those teases at the very end of the episode. Not Damien Dark. That's an Arrow reference for all of you, but Damien Darkblood, excuse me. Which the biggest part about that, which I want to do a video on this, and I haven't had a chance to yet. But the reason why people are making such a big deal about the return of Damien Darkblood is because it's not in line with the comic books. So us who don't read the comic books, but also those who do read the comic books, don't know what's going to happen with him. It is in very uncharted territory for the character and just for the Invincible world, which makes things very, very exciting. That's a great adaptation in my eyes, is you are blending not only the things that happen in the comic books, but also bringing new things, because it is a new medium. And I think that's what a lot of people miss when they adapt things, is that you can not only change things, but you can add things. You can make things different. You can make it new for not only people who are seeing it for the first time, but people who have read about it and lived in that world for years. And doing that with Damien Darkblood is awesome, is great. And yes, Booze, I was extremely worried for Oliver. No matter how strong he is, he's no match for Conquest. He's not full Viltrumite, and neither is Mark. But Mark is arguably the strongest being in the universe. He will get there one day. But I think, and Oliver might be near strong as well, but he's still just a kid. That moment where Conquest had him over his head and he was stretching him, and the sounds that were happening, terrifying. Just absolutely terrifying. I thought he was about to rip him in half. Like 100%, I thought he was about to rip him in half. But yeah, no, thank God he's not, because, even though I don't know where it's all headed, I do want to see Nolan, Oliver, and Mark reunite one day. I don't know if that's happened or possible from the comic books, but no matter what path we take, I feel like we're headed in that direction because of where we left off with Nolan, Alan the Alien. But time will tell. Time will tell. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think season 4 is shaping up to be massive, like really, really big and awesome and exciting. I love the fact that Robert Kirkman has come out and flat out said that we're going to be doing a season a year going forward, which means that season 4 of Invincible will be in 2026. We don't have to wait another couple of years to get Invincible back. We're going to be getting it each and every year, which I love. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe they have like 7 or 8 seasons that they want to do. So we're not even halfway done with this show, which is so exciting. So yeah, Invincible, and I don't think I've said this yet, but I would have to go back and watch season 1. Obviously, Nolan was like such a big impact and everything that kind of kicked off what this show is really about now. And there's so many incredible moments between Mark and Nolan in that season. But season 3 might be my favorite. I love the approach they took with so many different characters. Mark and Cecil, their battle that will continue because of Cecil taking Conquest and taking his body. That's going to end terribly. No doubt. Whenever he wakes up, he's going to break through that. No problem. Are you kidding me? So that's going to end terribly, not only for what's happening with Conquest, but the relationship between Cecil and Mark is going to be severed even more. As I mentioned, the growth of Adam Eve, how much she was in the forefront this season. I haven't even mentioned Rex, but damn, Rexplode gone. I hate that. And we obviously have that weird connection of what happened at the end of season 2, where we thought Rex was in Robot's body, but it's actually Rudy now taking on the name of Rex because he looks like Rex. So Rex had just died at that point. Rex was always a fan favorite character. Now he's no more. But he died a hero. Like, he took out an Invincible. He's one of the few, if not the only person to ever take out an Invincible that's not named Invincible. So he's going to go down in history. Like, awesome. Love it. But at the same time, I'm going to miss the shit out of him. Excuse my language, but I'm going to miss the shit out of Rex. He was such a bright, vibrant, interesting character that brought so many different things to the show. And he was also growing at the same time. Like his relationship with Rey, like he was taking strides and getting a little bit more mature. So, yeah, it's going to be a bummer not having Rex around. All right. I'm sure Invincible will come back around at some point. I'm going to get to this comment real quick, though, from Blake. Blake, I love that they changed it a little bit as long as the changes don't lose the heart of the story, and I doubt it will. Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, it's hard to not say do whatever you want because it's working. You know, I might think that season 2 of the show is the weakest of the 3, but it's still a good season of Invincible. Like, they're 3 for 3 in my book, and I could have the show for another 20 years and I'd be happy. I know there's not that much story, but like do what you want. Like you're giving me everything I want from this show, from this character, from this world. And if you continue to do it, I'm happy. As long as it doesn't go the route of The Boys, where The Boys is now just being gruesome to be gruesome with their superhero antics. And it's reached a point where it's turned me off. I don't want Invincible reaching that point. Now, obviously, it's part of the show because it's a realistic look at superheroes. Obviously, there'll be blood and guts and bones and broken pieces everywhere. But don't do it just to do it. Like, if Conquest and the fight between Mark and Conquest is like the peak, the height, I'm happy with that. But don't do what The Boys is doing in just being violent and gruesome and gory just to do it because they can. And I don't believe they will, because I think they're going to keep the stride of where they're at the same, but the story is just going to move along and where they are taking Mark and Eve and all of these other characters. So, yeah, massive kudos, Invincible. I think if it continues on this run for another couple of seasons, I think it's going to go down as the greatest comic book show of all time. No question in my eyes. I don't think anything will top it. Especially for that long of a run. Like, we've seen great shows have great seasons, but also have very down seasons. If Invincible can keep this run for 5, 6, 7 seasons, hands down the greatest comic book show of all time. All right, let's move on to the next topic that I want to talk about. You guys can ask about, I can briefly touch on, but Andor. Andor Season 2 is just over a month away. April 22nd is when this show will debut. And we've gone over the details regarding how many episodes will be released, the time jump that it will be taking each and every week. But what we haven't talked about is some new details that we got this past week, I believe, maybe the week before. So we got new footage from the show, is first of all. We got new images, we got new footage. Director Tony Gilroy actually did a live stream on the Star Wars YouTube channel just a few days ago, which was really cool, answering a bunch of questions from fans and professionals. But one detail that we haven't talked about here, and maybe some of you don't want to know about this, so I'll just, spoilers, I waved my hands. Just in case, when I wave my hands back, you can come back. But Andor Season 2 is going to tell a story from Legends that is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. And it'll be told over multiple episodes. But it's The Gorman Massacre is the title of this. Let's call it Situation. Gorman Massacre, the Massacre of Gorman is what it is referred to. In the most recent footage we got, it shows footage of the Gorman Massacre. And I don't want to cover too much and reveal too much. And again, I already mentioned spoilers, so if you're watching, here you go. Spoilers for the Gorman Massacre. But It was a pivotal moment in the early galactic civil war and declaration of the alliance to restore the Republic. When Imperial army forces violently suppressed peaceful protesters on the planet Gorman. The massacre, which killed hundreds, if not thousands, of protesters, according to the Imperial Archives, was part of the Galactic Empire's escalating crackdown on rebel activity in the galaxy. Terrible. One of the worst things that we're going to see in live-action Star Wars ever. And honestly, if there's a show to do it, it's Andor. It's 100% Andor. Not just because of the timeline, but because of the tone of this show. The tone of this show allows it to tell something like this very, very well. It's going to be hard. It's going to be rough. It's going to be awful. But the tone of this show allows it to be told. And that's what I love about this show is that it takes chances and it's telling different stories and kind of going out of the box compared to other Star Wars stories. It's taking the character of Cassian Andor through a lot of different loops in the world of Star Wars during pretty much the dark reign of the Empire, the worst timing in the entire timeline that we know of in live action from the Phantom Menace until now, or let's say from the Acolyte until the Mandalorian. That chunk, this is by far one of the worst things that could happen, and we're going to be seeing it in live action. Yeah, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough, but I love that they're going there. I love that we're going to be seeing stuff like this because it fits the style of show that we're going to be seeing with Andor. And I still to this day think Andor is the best written and just directed, performed show we have gotten in the entire Star Wars TV run. It's not my favorite because I'm prone to Ahsoka, but Andor, if someone was to tell me that Andor is the best, I don't argue with them because they're right. They're 100% right. And I can't wait to see what they do with season 2 that's going to lead directly into Rogue One. Leaves me very, very excited. Sarju, in Andor, why does every fan want to end it soon or in three seasons or less? Well, so they don't want it to end. That's just the way the story has fit. So I will agree with you that the series probably could have been 3 seasons because of the way that season 2 is set up. Like they could have easily told 3 or 4 seasons of television. But that's not what they want to do. That's not how they want to set the story up. They want to touch up in moments of Cassian Andor's life over some episodes rather than over a season of television. And I'm okay with that. It's unique. It's different. I trust them. They want to lead directly into Rogue One, and this is how they want to do it. I'm all for it. I don't necessarily need 4 more seasons of Andor where every season is focused on a year of his life. Because there's not that much story to tell. If it was focused over a year of his life, a season 2, let's put it this way. If the 3-episode chunks that we're going to be getting over 4 weeks are seasons of television, there's going to be 8 episodes, or in Andor's case, because there was 12 in the original season, 12 episodes of television with a bunch of added stuff that doesn't matter because they are only touching on it and really worrying about that moment in time. Not something doesn't happen to each character every day of their entire life over 20 years. And if they want to tell a story that takes place this year and then take a time jump, and then this year and then take another time jump, I'm totally okay with it. Again, I trust them. They proved me wrong with Andor Season 1. Tony Gilroy was incredible. Diego Luna was incredible. Genevieve O'Reilly, all of them, Stellan Skarsgård, everyone. They have gained my trust. So they can tell any story however they want to, and I'm going to be 100% locked in. And I can't wait for it. I can't wait to have Star Wars back on my TV on a weekly basis. I'm really, really excited. The only thing that I absolutely effing hate is that the premiere of this show, 3 episodes, is going to be on the final day of Daredevil Born Again. Big fat F you to Disney for doing that. That is just totally unfair to not only to both shows, really, but more so in the Daredevil Born Again camp because it is the finale of that show. It's really, really upsetting. Blake Quick. I would rather have the time jump so we don't get filler episodes. Boom. Not even filler episodes, but like just filler time in the episodes. Right? I'd rather have the time jumps because that's the story that they want to tell. Why give me 3 or 4 more seasons of TV if you don't want to do that? I'm all for that. Booze. Andor is so good. Not sure if I have Andor over Mando from going over a cliff, but it's great. Oh, I'm not sure if I save Andor over Mando from going over a cliff, but it's great. Yeah, I mean, look. Who has the jetpack? Mando doesn't need saving at that point, right? He saves himself. So save Andor. Save Andor. All right. Let's go and move on to the final topic of the evening. So we got a little situationship, y'all, with Netflix, the Russo brothers, the Electric State. Now, I do want to say right off the bat, I have not seen the Electric State yet. Part of me is just not wanting to watch it because of all the reactions to it. But we have to talk about this movie because this is the most expensive Netflix film of all time. And one of the most expensive movies ever made in history between studios, streamers, all of it. I think it ranks around like 11 or something. And it's behind all of the sequel trilogy Star Wars films, a bunch of Avengers and MCU films. And then smack dab there, right there at the bottom, is The Electric State from Netflix. This movie cost $350 million to make. $350 million for a movie. Where's my phone? That when I did a video about it a few weeks ago had 21% on Rotten Tomatoes. But a movie that currently has, oh my God, where is it? 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Electric State by the Russo brothers has 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. There's a lot of problems with this. A lot. First of all, Netflix should never be making a million that costs $350 million. Never. Not only should a streamer never spend that kind of money on a film or a TV show, but they don't make good enough product to do so. I don't care how good it is. Some of the best films in the Netflix library. We have The Old Guard. We have the Extraction films. We obviously have some of the more art piece style films that have been nominated for awards, a number of other movies that I can go on and on and on about. I don't care. No movie should ever cost that much for Netflix. Honestly, there are very few movies that I would allow studios to spend that kind of money on. Star Wars is a property, I would say, depending on what kind of project it is. Star Wars is a property, I would say yes. Avengers Endgame, yes, because you're going to make that money back. The Electric State that doesn't get a theater release, that stars Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown. I don't care how popular their names are. They are not going to bring that much money in. Chris Pratt is in one of the most successful films of all time in Jurassic World. He's obviously in the Marvel stuff, but for a second, let's remove those. Chris Pratt is in one of the most successful films of all time in Jurassic World, financially. Did that movie work because of Chris Pratt? Or did it work because of the Jurassic name plus the movie getting really positive reviews? You tell me. No one is running out to see Chris Pratt as the lead. As much as I like Chris Pratt, no one is running out to see Chris Pratt as the lead. And let's be honest, as good as she is, which I think she is really, really good, who is running out to see Millie Bobby Brown? I don't know if, correct me if I'm wrong, has Millie Bobby Brown ever been anything that isn't Netflix? I don't think so. Stranger Things, Alona, Alona Holmes, 1 and 2, Damsel, her dragon film from last year, and then The Electric State. That's all Netflix stuff. Now, I'm sure there's something on there, obviously, from her filmography that's non-Netflix, but as far as since we've really known her for the last 10 years, I don't think I've seen her in anything else but Netflix stuff. But at the same time, who is running out to watch her? And again, I like both Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown. But who is going to run out to watch her that's going to make a $350 million budget back on top of whatever marketing has cost for you? Let's say $100 million. It's usually around a studio film. Let's just say $100 million usually. Let's be graceful here and say $50 million. Are Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown going, oh, John, you are right. Thank you so much. And Reefism. She was in the Godzilla films. I stand corrected. But at the same time, no one's running out to watch her in the Godzilla films. They're watching Godzilla because it's Godzilla. I'm just saying. And like Reefism says, that cast was massive. Brian Tyree Henry, Kyle Chandler, among many, many other big names. She was great in those. But she wasn't the lead. Right? Vera Farmiga. Love her. She was great. Kyle Chandler, awesome. Bigger names, people who are in studio films on a constant basis over Millie Bobby Brown. My point is, Netflix doesn't have the capacity to allow actors and directors to be your main marketing ploy. No one is going to turn... People who have Netflix outside of our community, which as much as it may feel big to us, it's not. People who have Netflix, the average household member, are not going to turn on a movie that says directed by the Russo brothers, starring Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown. They're going to turn on a movie because of reviews, word of mouth, and how it looks. And the Electric State failed at all three of those. All three of those. And I don't know if we'll ever know how much Netflix is going to profit from this film. I don't know if they will ever reveal it. And if they ever do, it might be fabricated. But this is going to go down as one of the biggest flops of all time. No question. It has to. And this leads me to my next briefly part of this conversation. We all need to be a little bit worried about the Avengers films. As much as I love the Russo brothers and their previous history with the MCU, they have had an awful track record since they left. Awful. Now, when I say awful, I am saying in the eyes of the average audience and critics. Because I actually don't mind their previous two movies, especially The Gray Man. I actually like The Gray Man quite a bit. Cherry, I liked. I didn't love. I was around like a 6.5 out of 10. Cherry is rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. The Gray Man, rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. The Electric State, terribly rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. They do not have a really good track record right now. It's really bad. It's really, really bad what they are doing with films. And if they bring any of that to the Avengers films, we are in big trouble. Big, big trouble. Because if the Avengers films fail, and let's just stick with Doomsday for a second. If Avengers Doomsday fails, the MCU is over as we know it. No question. It's gone. Everyone is pretty much off of it anyway. I'm still on board. I'm enjoying a lot of things that are coming from it. I think everyone is being a little too harsh. But if you cannot bring everyone back together for a project like Doomsday, where you are rushing a character like Doctor Doom, bringing back Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, among many others, and it doesn't work, there are going to be pitchforks everywhere. and we are in big, big trouble. So we have a long road ahead of us. I might turn on the electric state before next week's show, and I will let you guys know. I do plan on watching it. I'll be honest. I try to give everything a chance, even with reactions and reviews. But it might just take me a little bit to get there. And this is going to be one that takes me a little bit to get there. So I will keep you guys updated. But for right now, the biggest takeaway I have from this movie is that we need to be a little nervous when it comes to the next Avengers films because the Russo brothers do not have it together. And they need to get it together. All right, a couple questions and comments before we move on. Revism. I'm definitely going to watch Happy Gilmore 2. I am terrified about that movie, man. Adam Sandler has not been good for a while, and Happy Gilmore is one of my all-time favorite Sandler films. Please do not screw this up. Please, 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 please. I saw the trailer today. Just please don't screw it up. I pray to you, please don't screw it up. Blake Quick. Within the next 3 years, I believe Sadie Sink will be the biggest actor to come out of Stranger Things. I agree with you. No question. I think she has the most potential. I think she has been the best, and she's already kind of broadened her horizon outside of Stranger Things. She was in Fear Street, which she was great in Fear Street, but she was obviously in The Whale, which a lot of people overlook her performance because of how great Brendan Fraser was in The Whale. But she was great, and now she is joining the MCU. And I'm 100% with you, Blake. I think she's going to be an absolutely incredible actress for a very long time. Blake Quick. The Russo brothers did give us 3 of the best Marvel movies in Marvel. I have trust in them with Marvel, just not other type of movie. Actually, Blake, he gave us 4 of the best. And it may differ in opinion, but Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. To me, they're 4 for 4. They are not only 4 for 4, but they're 4 perfectly 4 for perfectly 4. If that even makes sense. Those are 4 incredibly perfect movies in my eyes. Coming from someone who Civil War is my single favorite comic book storyline of all time, I loved what they did with Civil War. And Infinity War and Endgame speak for themselves. Winter Soldier is my all-time favorite MCU film. So their track record in the MCU speaks for itself. If they can bring that to these films, I'm all for it. But the last few years makes me nervous. It makes me nervous. John Pierce, same. So much good TV right now that doesn't have me rushing to watch Electric State. Agreed, man. Agreed. I'd rather watch any episode of television I have on right now than Electric State, which is so bad to say. Or any of the other films that are out there. Nosferatu's on Peacock. Andor just got put on Hulu yesterday. So there's a lot of award-buzzed films from this last year that are currently on streaming and that are now available to watch. So go check them out. And not only that, but there's a show I'm recommending this week for this week's recommendation that you should all watch. And that is Paradise. I have mentioned Paradise before in my weekly recommendation, but that was before the show had ended. I believe I did it after the first or second episode because I had talked about the cliffhanger in the episode 1. You guys need to watch this show. Paradise on Hulu. Sterling K. Brown, James Marsden is incredible. Really, really, really good TV show on Hulu. I really can't speak enough about this show. Surprised the hell out of me. There was no buzz coming into it when it was released in late January, and it became one of the single most popular things on social media over the last 10 weeks or so. The opening, as I mentioned, the first episode cliffhanger is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But that continues through the rest of the shows, or episodes, through the rest of the episodes. There are multiple episodes that leave you hanging, but now you can watch all of them because the entire season is available. And I will say season 2 has been confirmed. We are getting a sequel to this show. I cannot wait to see what they do next because of the cliffhanger they left us on in the finale. And yes, there is a cliffhanger. For anybody watching who watched this show and is needing more to push them to watch Paradise, it gives very, very big Lost vibes. In an extremely different setting. It's set up very differently, but it gives very Lost vibes. It is a mystery thriller through and through with great performances. And again, you'll be left on the edge of your seat multiple times throughout watching this show. The conversation online that was happening about it for 10 weeks or so was crazy. Absolutely crazy. My reviews on TikTok were bonkers. Actually, funny enough, and not to brag or anything, but Hulu actually requested to use my reviews 2 weeks in a row because of how crazy the conversation was. They posted me all over their social media. Paradise was a very, very surprisingly enjoyable show, and I cannot wait to see what they do next with it. Really, really looking forward to it. So again, check it out. Paradise on Hulu. Cannot recommend it enough. It's a perfect binge watch now that it's all available. You will not put it down. You will not want to stop watching it. So go check it out. John Pierce. I just finished Slow Horses. That's another incredible recommendation. Slow Horses is perfect. It is so, so good. Gary Oldman is unbelievable. And watching Paradise next. Awesome. Good luck, man. Curtis. What's up, buddy? Hell yeah, Paradise. Damn, missed the start change. I know. Sorry. I mentioned it up top for anybody who came in late. I had to get on a little early tonight. It's been a very long day for me. I have not seen my family once. I've been painting the inside of our house, and so they had to leave. And 2 minutes into me starting the show, they pulled in the driveway. So I wanted to see my family and go eat dinner. Plus watch Daredevil Born Again because Daredevil's on in 10 minutes. So, but yeah, I'm gonna call it tonight, guys. Look, a little bit of a shorter show. It's kind of a weird show this week because I started early. It was more of a Q&A style episode. Just wanted to hang out with you guys. I'm going to be back to the regular scheduled program next week. And then obviously tomorrow we have our Daredevil Born Again review of episode 4. I have heard episode 4 is one that you want to look out for. Frank Castle is coming. Now, I don't know if he shows up tonight, but Frank Castle is coming. And I cannot wait to see everything that this show has for us. We are getting into the heart of it. And I am loving every second of it. That'll be tomorrow with Brian and I. And a special guest may appear as well. So I hope you guys are all doing great. Hope you guys all stay safe. I greatly appreciate you guys joining me early tonight. For any of you guys who are jumping in late or watching back on the playback, I'm sorry for showing up early, but it just had to happen this week. I will keep you guys updated on next week's show. Have a great rest of your week, guys, and I will catch you guys later. Bye, guys.